important about that box you upstairs. Special ingredients used for my cooking. Whatever your hands in it.
You just trying to tell us this, no? I gotta eat. That's life.
You sound like you're scared of that thing.
Let's think out loud. Mr. Alexander has a lot of triggers to get pulled if we go to a ground war. And I don't feel like getting shot today. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
They were in the road.
Read this. Constantine runs chop shops. Right. Not for long. You feel me? Mr. Alexander wants your product. But he wants it done quietly. The quieter the better. That's where, like me, comes in. Now, I'ma say this, and I'm only gonna say it once. Jimmy Falcone is dead. I own this club. I'm about to own the chop shops, too. That's on neighborhood, you feel me? A gift. That could be your future. One more thing. We're partners now. Once I cap Constantine, I expect 10% of everything we move to the chop shop.
Okay. Follow us.
Welcome back. Today we are here with Martha Emmanuel. I'm sure many of you guys know who she is already, but if you don't,
No, you guys, please.
welcome back. I'm sure many. Welcome back. I'm sure many of you know who Martha Emmanuel is, but if you do not know, let's get into more about her. So.
If you do not know, you'll get to.
Welcome back. I'm sure many of you know who Martha Emmanuel is, but if you do not know, you will get to know more about her today. So for our very first question, who is Martha Emmanuel?
Who is Martha Emmanuel? Do I know? Okay, how do I describe myself? Martha Emmanuel, school teacher. I taught for maybe about 25 years. I left the teaching profession. During that period of time, I was really engaged in church activities. I always loved drama, always. From the age of 8, I would go out there in the community and just stage my own plays in my neighbors' yards, especially persons who were sick or depressed or not feeling too good. I always love to see a smile on someone's face, and if I don't see it, I try to get it through rainstorm, whatever. So as an 8-year-old girl, I would just leave my mom's home, who had about 12 children, and just go out there and entertain my neighbors. And when I was 16, I decided that, okay, I will take the drama to the classroom. And that's where I love being myself. Drama, talking to people, engaging, no matter what age group. Yeah, more, yeah, PT, I don't care. I just love people, and I always love to engage people. I always like to be a comedian. I took it to the church as well. My preaching style was always very dramatic, and it's like, you know, someone who just loved reaching out to people in all kinds of ways, whether it's like being serious preaching, whether it's like my drama, whether it is my plays, writing my books, and my movies. That's just who my friend is.
back. I'm sure many of you know who Catherine Emmanuel is, but if you do not know, you will find out much more about her today. So, our very first question is, who is Catherine Emmanuel?
It's a strange question. Who am I? Well, when I have to talk about myself, I talk too much. I say too many things in too short a space of time. But I am a teacher by profession. I am a preacher. I've not just preached locally, but internationally, the UK, Florida. I preach crusades here right in St. Lucia. Apart from preaching, and my drama, which I use specifically in my community to help the poor, I consider myself to be someone who loves to engage in issues that affect the masses. A few years ago, we started a talk show at the Coconut Bay Resort, which was going so well that in a few weeks, a talk show host in Texas wanted to engage and actually buy our sessions, the topics that we're dealing with. So I think I'm just versatile when it comes to communication with people and all aspects, all spectrums. I think I just, not that I'm crazy, I just love to engage with, people on various mediums and whatever. So to say who I am, I don't even know.
So it is so remarkable how much you have contributed to St. Lucia's creative sphere, and to add to that, you introduced Ribbons of Blue. So how did that come about?
It's a very sentimental thing for me to talk about Ribbons of Blue because, sometimes my mom passed last year and she meant the world to us, 12 of us. That woman was Iron Woman, let's put it that way. She raised 12 kids, 6 boys and 6 girls. And when my mom passed, all you could hear in the Deriso community is she was a wonderful woman. And she was my pillar, she was everything. To the extent that when I went to receive my doctorate in the UK, it was terrible emotionally because I had promised her that she would be walking with me to receive that doctorate, because my mom raised us in ways that I don't think there will be another woman in the community like her. She was everything that I know to be good when it comes to Christianity. Every time I get on a hard rock and try to be on the rough side, I remember my mom. I remember who she was. And to me, she has never been in the past. She remains constant with her children, both male and female, to the extent that she passed. And her death brought us even closer together. And that was the power of the woman who raised me. So when I think of myself, I think of my mother. I think the power of a woman who can raise children in positive ways. And when I hear about the crime rate and all of that, and I said, but she could have raised 12 of us. And I don't think any one of us would even think of biting somebody, much less fighting. So she will always be remembered. And when people tell me, well, my size, my height, my shoe size, everything is my mom. And so I'm so proud of that, because to me she's within me. And it's just that wonderful for me as who I am, my mother's daughter. And you would have to know my mother to understand when I tell you my mother's daughter. So I'm proud of who I am because of who she was. And I'm proud of who she was because of God in her. Yes, when she died, she one phrase she used in her bed, a room, the last time we spoke, she told me, my nickname is Lita, so she told me there is no grace. If there is no grace, there will be nothing that you can achieve in life without God's grace. And as I move along in life, that has impacted my life as well. So who I am, I keep moving in circles, I cannot really tell you. All I can tell you is I am a package as a result of who nurtured me as a mother. I am who I am because of how I feel about people in my community, elsewhere wherever I travel. I am who I am because of God in my life, foremost, God in my life. And I will say that wherever I go. It's not about religion, it's about having a very active relationship with my God as an individual, as a woman, as a person. I don't think too much about religion. I think about God and how God wants us to be and how He wants us to live in society wherever we are.
Such a wonderful response, and I think it's so amazing how your art is inspired by those around you, and I think your contributions to society in terms of the creative field, it's like a love letter to relationships, a love letter to the connections that every person either longs to have or shares already, and it really evokes such a wonderful
Yeah, because you got it so right and you actually knocked the hammer on the nail. My life, or our lives, my mother's 12 children, remains as a love letter to her. And that's why I think that parenting, whenever parenting goes wrong, society goes wrong. And that love letter continues to be passed on. It's not just us, it's like me, my son. My son started preaching at the age of 6, he's getting married next month. But he started preaching everywhere, in crusades everywhere, Kenny, you know. So it is a legacy. What is passed on from your parents to you, you pass it on to your children, and we pass it in the neighborhood everywhere you live. That's what it is, our legacy. Not just as family, the family unit, but it's also in our neighborhood. When you tell me about Adventist, I don't want to hear you telling me about Adventist. I want to see what Adventist is about. Not being told. I don't want to be told who an Adventist is. I want to feel an Adventist. I want to experience an Adventist. I want to experience a Christian. And I don't go about telling people I'm Adventist. I don't want to do it, period. When Christ walked on earth, there is not one single person who did not know the Messiah. Wherever the Messiah went, he either touched a life who was desperate, he either nurtured a life who was in need of nurturing, he either worked a miracle that would enhance someone's life. Christ didn't know all about I'm the Messiah, none of the Christ know. Just by the way he walked and talked and lived, everybody knew that the Messiah was in town. And so I feel as a Christian, personally, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
So that's who I am. And as I keep saying to my sisters, my siblings, I don't want to be defined by what I received, your doctorate. No, doctorate does nothing for you. That will do nothing for you. It's who you are. It's whose you are that counts. So when people say Dr. Emmanuel, somehow I just crawl it within my being because I have lived my life. I'm 65 years old. I have lived my life in a way that I can't be defined by whose daughter I am.
Like you said, and one thing that I loved, that you said was you do not want to be told that someone is a Christian. You want to hear, you want to actually experience that. And with art, with your productions, we experience your beliefs, we experience the journeys, we experience different connections through your art, because I believe that sometimes art imitates life itself.
Yes.
And for most of your movies, so
I think what you're trying to say is most of the works reflect what I'm trying to express. I may not be able to express everything, but what you are simply reinforcing from persons who have spoken to me in the way that you are talking to me now, I never really saw it in depth until young people, especially now, when they meet me on the street and they tell me, you changed my life. And I keep saying to myself, how did I do that? I don't even know you. I met a young man by Bangor St. Lucia, and I keep on saying that for the whole year. I keep on talking to people about that. Because I didn't expect it. I was busy as usual on my way, trying to get stuff done so I could travel to Boston. And I just felt this tall young man just right in the middle of the road. Bam! And he held me there and he would not let me go. But when I looked in his face and I saw the tears, I knew immediately what the connection was. And he said to me, I am dressed like this because of you. I grew up with you. There was another scenario in Babulo where this young man died suddenly. We're in a tourist whatever thing, and my husband is there, you can hear me, and he was there, and there was another young lady who was trying to console him, and I heard the young man crying. I hate to hear men crying. So I told her, can I have your phone just to say hello to him? And I just said, hello, good morning. And there was this young man screaming at the other. You can ask my husband. He was just actually screaming, is that ribbons of blue? And I got the goosebumps, and it was like, what's happening? And he said, lady, you don't know how long I've been searching for you. And he stopped crying from that point in time. My husband and I went to his home. I slept on the floor with his mom. And he told me he will not be able to go through the process without me. I have to be there with them. So I went through that grieving process with them along with my husband. And I said to myself, how can I take the glory for such encounters? I did not understand what was happening back then. But for now, I understand that when God gives us gifts, it's not for our glory. It is for His work, His manifestation in the lives of others. And now, more than any other time in my life, and I said to myself, you can die. If you die, you have lived the life God wanted you to live. You have done what He wanted you to do. And it was not anything of your own, because this is inspirational, it is spiritual. It's not of humanity to touch lives like that. So the only way you can maintain it is if you realize it's not yours and respect it as God's. So when people come and hold you and things so you can feel, oh, you this, you that, no, my God, you have to be very careful. Very, very careful to disown it quickly, because it is not of you. God is just using you as an instrument. So more than any other time in my life, I realized that Ribbons of Blue was not just a movie. It was a love letter written by God to humanity. I got my doctorate because of Ribbons of Blue. No. God uses us, and we have to appreciate and respect that, because the minute we own it, we lose it.
Perfectly said. So right now we are going into a break and we'll be right back.
So we went to Beaufort on our way traveling to Soufrière all around the island, and an Indian woman.
Come back. So Ribbons of Blue was selected by the New York International Film and Arts Festival in 2004. How did that happen? Awesome. Welcome back. Ribbons of Blue was selected for the New York International Film and Video Festival in 2004. How did that happen?
At the time, again, I was just like, hey, everybody's talking about Ribbons of Blue, and someone told me you should submit that film in New York. But then I submitted it. And then the director called. I was here at home, and he said, this is the best film we have seen for young people. Mrs. Emmanuel, you have received an award for the film, Best Director Award. And he said what he could not understand, which I still do not understand today, is that the Chinese women could follow the movie, the story from beginning to end. And I'm saying, but say, Chinese lap money back up on Patwa, we up on two ribbons of blue. They were crying. They watched the film. So I guess it was the body language and everything else. So they told me, with something like that, we want to send you to France. At that time, Mel Gibson had just produced The Passion of the Christ. I remember vividly. And I said, say, anyway, have your movie by la family quality. You live for sex. And anyway, I don't have money. But brethren, remember my friend. When I tell you God is real, God is not Papi show. God is as real can be. I was sitting on the chair over there, and there is so Adventist church youth were there playing their drums and having their AY and shouting, because when they're singing from the church, I can hear. And I could not get off from the chair. I wanted to go to AY, I could not go. And I was telling my husband, I'm feeling a power holding me to the seat, and I cannot leave it. When I cannot go, there's a power holding me to the seat. A few minutes after that, my phone rang. First I had the phone, and here was this lady, Monica Kade, Barbara Kade's mom, asking, is this Ribbons of Blue? And I laughed aloud and I said, I am not Ribbons of Blue. I produced the movie, but I'm not Ribbons of Blue, and I laughed. And she said, lady, I heard you on the news, I heard your movie in New York and all of that, and you have to go to France, and I laughed. And I said to her, actually, I'm just sitting here, I have to go to AY at my church, and I just realized I could not stand. So that means I had to get your call. Because she told me, if you cannot pay to go to France, I'm paying now. If you cannot pay to go to London, because you have to go from here to London, from London to Paris, and all that journey, I'm paying every single thing. The Holy Spirit spoke to me, and I am sponsoring your journey. And after I listened to her, saying, my mother taught us not to take money from strangers. I said, well, ma'am, connect madam, Monica Kade, Barbara Kade's mom, I don't know her. She wants to take me to France. She said, lady, I'm coming with you as well. And if you have any other relatives who wants to come with you, I'm paying for them. So, I ended up traveling from St. Lucia to the UK, from UK to Paris. I met Mel Gibson, and I could not say it here because if we see Pate supportive, as they should have been. And I knew I was on a special journey. And I remember that day vividly. When a German guy, New York called the German guy to meet with me after that festival. So I met the man from Germany, his name was Greg. He told me, if you have the power to reach out to young people in that way, I want to work with you. But first, to begin with, I want you to produce a horror film. And I said, that day it was full moonlight. I cannot share the whole journey with you. All I know is God was on the trail, and He took me there. And there are stories about that day nobody will believe, so I leave it alone. But when He said that to me, I stood and I said to the gentleman, a horror film. Of course, I am gifted. I can produce any movie I want. I don't even need the paper. I don't need a script. I don't use scripts to produce my movies. They are all there given. So when I tell you to do something, all you have to do is listen. So I know God has given me a gift. And it is not an ordinary gift. So when this guy told me, I want you to produce a horror film, I knew I could. And I could produce the best horror movie Hollywood would ever see. But then that day, I took a walk beneath that clear sky and the moonlight. And I said to the Lord, okay, so you took me all the way from London Road to the airport, from the airport to the UK, from the UK to France to Paris. Is that what you took me here for? And I said, not on your dead body. I do not need the money. I will die poor, but I will do what you assigned me to. And I remember that day, A woman came, my aunt came with me, my cousin from the UK, they came with me, and the woman approached me. And she told me, I am an Adventist. I said, what is the nonsense is going on? Because they were just dancing, doing a whole lot of gymnastics, and I don't know her. But she said, I am an Adventist. And I know God. And I looked at her and I said, I know it. There were only 2 black women at that festival, Matthew Emmanuel and an African woman. And I knew God was navigating still through the process. And I knew where my head had to remain. People don't